Hello! Are we muted? Can you guys hear us?
They can hear us.
Are you sure? Well, I see a lot of things.
This one says ignore.
I see a lot of things muted.
This one
on the mixer.
It's just a video. Webcam's muted.
Guys, we have spent $1,000 on a mixing board, and I see the word mute.
Don't like that word.
Flashing red at the very top of it.
Joe can hear us, but can everybody else hear us?
We got Joe modded, so he might have the special privs.
Joe, you're always listening to us.
Yeah. That's why we like him. So how many? We got 9 people here. We're honestly gonna just stall a little bit until more people get in here. That's what I'm gonna.
So we have
1,500 people. When we get 1,500, can we get this fan out of the way? I'm gonna move that. You guys keep talking.
You don't like the fan back there?
I've got enough fans.
Get this cat out of here. Little memer. Throw the fan on.
All right, you'll be in front of it. What do you guys think about the fan? Can you still see it?
Want the
Brian,
fan?
move a little bit.
You guys want the fan in the frame?
Do you want fan in frame?
Is that good?
FIF or fan out of frame? Because it's up to you.
Drop those FOFs in the chat. Fan out of frame?
Press
FIF.
Press FIF
fan in
to
frame.
Pay respects. Fan out of frame, fan in frame. That's one on one.
2-1.
Tan mannerism.
2-2.
Fifth. We got a fifth. We got a fuff. Fifth,
3-2.
fuff.
All right.
Oh,
Can you see the
you
boom,
see the
Mike?
boom? Look at this.
We got a boom.
Boom. Every time I tweet
that
a
out
good
of here.
tweet, a good political tweet, I put boom in all caps after I finish, and that's how you know to send out those retweets. I played not the fifth. All right. That's pretty good from Kevin in the chat.
That's a good one.
He's coming out hot with these funny jokes.
So I guess we're keeping it out of the frame
Yeah.
because we want to.
Yeah, so I really hope we get more viewers because we have such a special treat planned right now. And I do want to apologize. I have a pimple on my face. I'm embarrassed. I tried using my girlfriend's, what do you call it, cover-up makeup stuff. And
What it's called.
yeah, I put so much of it on, and then I accidentally put a red dot on top of the makeup. So what you're looking at is me with foundation, I think that's the word, and then I accidentally drew a red dot with a magic marker. So that is what this pimple is. Where is it? It's right there.
Okay, I see it.
They
yeah.
can see it.
Yeah,
so I'm
have made
embarrassed.
the camera full screen. If we hadn't, they
I know.
wouldn't
I
see
should
the
be
pimple.
sitting like this. So, you know, we got Walter Day here. This is a major gift for us. That's why I'm hoping we get more viewers. If we're gonna have kind of a major celebrity like this here, I'm looking at him right now. We haven't enabled where you can see him, but I'm looking at him on a different
He's on
monitor.
there.
He is here, and he's just like you remember. I don't know if you guys saw the King of Kong, circa what 2008.
Yeah, he is the star of the documentary.
Yeah.
King Kong.
His name is top of the call sheet. That's a little industry term. So
He's not in it that much, but
he's pretty
definitely
good.
a shining star.
So we got him. We want to talk about. Do we want to talk about Cosmic D before we bring him on, or let's bring him on and then talk about it.
Yeah, we'll bring him on. We'll talk more about it because I don't think we can come to a good decision on how we need to move forward.
Yeah.
I don't want to say where we're going as far as that controversy goes.
Yeah.
Not yet. But yeah, we'll talk about that more later.
Okay.
We can start out by just saying sorry. The first thing we can point out is we've been calling him Cosmic Kid. Did you just call him Cosmic Kid?
I think I said Cosmic D. I think
Okay.
we all realized, at the same time we kind of simultaneously read the word. We've been mispronouncing his name, misspelling it, and it's Cosmic D12, and I feel really bad because I've been calling him Cosmic Kid, running around town.
Cosmo Kid. I was watching the videos.
Cosmic Man.
A lot of embarrassing things that we called him.
I've been running around town, going into shops, and ranting and raving to the bartender or whatever. You're not going to believe this fucking guy, Cosmo Kid, Cosmic Kid.
And the funny thing is, now that I think back on it, I'm pretty sure that very bartender corrected you. He made an attempt to tell you, no, it's Cosmic D12.
He's a real stream monster. It was a barcade bartender, so he's in the scene. He gets it. Okay, what do you guys think? Should we bring him in? Or what else do you need to say?
I mean, we mentioned that he was in the King of Kong, but I just want to give you guys a little more backstory so you're familiar with how big of a celebrity we have on the stream tonight. I reached out to Wikipedia to try and get some good information because personally, I don't know him that well. We've had a few dinner parties, but I can't say that I know him well enough to give him a good introduction. So 3 weeks ago, I reached out to Wikipedia. They finally sent me a letter back, and they gave me a brief description that I think is an adequate introduction to who Walter Day is. And I basically...
I feel like I know the guy. I read this Wikipedia stuff that, what's his name? The guy that can't come to America and hack the election and stuff.
Snowden.
Yeah, no, not that one, but the other guy. I talked to him, and he was saying this is a pretty good, adequate write-up of our guy, Walter Day.
So basically, if you want some information about Walter Day, the Wikipedia entry that I was mailed says that he is an officiator and head of Twin Galaxies.
Yeah, and you can log in. I think it's wikipedia.org/Walter Day.
Yeah, so I'm glad to present that kind of information to you. I think it's very informative, and now we all know Walter Day a little better.
Yeah, I feel like I know the guy. I'd love to talk to him. You can just get lost in conversation with Walter, and I hope we get lost tonight. I hope I'm just wake up tomorrow like, what? Where am I? What happened? I got lost in conversation.
Yeah, if there's one word that I have to describe Walter Day, it's that he is passionate.
I'd say vivacious. If I had to boil it down to one word.
Maybe even just weird.
Maybe just a fucking strange guy. If I had to boil it down to 2-3 words. But, that he's a personality, and in this digital era, what are we beyond our brands? And he certainly has cultivated quite a cult or brand of personality. Okay, should we?
You ready to bring him on?
Bring him on board.
That's not what I wanted. How do I get out of this?
I don't know.
Get me out of here.
Technical tip. Oh, Hannah. Hey, what's up? Glad you popped in just in time.
Oh, yeah.
We got Walter Day popping in soon. We have a little technical difficulties. This part's not a joke.
This is a joke.
No, we're not doing some stupid thing.
How do we get this guy to be full screen here?
It honestly seems like you're doing a joke right now.
I know it does, and it is a joke, but maybe you can help me out.
I guess I'm going to talk to you guys about Hugs.
Oh yeah, tell me about Hugs.
My good friend Hugs, and I call him Hugs because we're friends, and he knows that. I know because he is a close friend of mine that he prefers to be called Hugs. If you're on a first name basis with him, if you call him Hugo, then you're not his friend, and that's what I know, being his confidant or friend or whatever. We got JC Pone. Thank you so much for following JC Pone. Oh my God, one of the stars of the Smash Bros. He's out there driving around. You remember that fucking...
He's a star in the same way that Walter Day is a star of...
He's kind of the main guy in the Smash Bros.
All right, we're ready to go. I figured it out.
Pop it on
right.
So they don't fucking think this is a joke.
It was a joke, but we're going to get Walter Day on now.
Here we go.
Hey!
Hello! Can you imagine?
Are you there?
We've got him right here.
Scribner Brothers, it's wonderful to be on this journey with you again. I'm glad to be back.
It's been a while. It's been a couple weweeks. I'm so happy to have you here. Turn off the audio.
I really enjoyed the dinner we were having that evening.
Thank you.
Grilled chicken was wonderful.
How was the barbecue sauce?
The hot sauce.
It was tangy, but not too tangy.
Oh, that's perfect.
If that makes sense.
That's good.
That is exactly what we were going for.
Because as you know, your good friend Billy Mitchell, he's going to circulate in some of these photographs that the viewers will be seeing. He's kind of a hot sauce tycoon, and we've been trying to get in that game, but we're trying to cultivate that balance between tangy and not too tangy, because if you get too tangy, people they hate it. You don't want to have that feeling on your tongue, like, that sort of feeling.
We have been experimenting with this hot barbecue sauce for years.
Since the King of Kong. But that's neither here or there.
I'm just tired of the consistent criticism that it's too tangy.
It's not that tangy.
It's tangy, I agree. But it's not too tangy.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
And when you've got Walter Day agreeing that it's not too tangy, then I think the consensus is it's not too tangy.
I'm proud of you boys, and I can speak for Billy because we're such good friends. He's an honorable man. He's never done anything questionable whatsoever. I think he'd be proud of you, and he'd be proud of your sauce.
It's really honorable for you to point that out.
It's the honorable thing to do.
Yeah, so here we are. I guess we should talk a little bit about Cosmic D12 and the situation the three of us have found ourselves in here, and why we brought you on, not just to interview you, but to get a ruling. And this is going to be really important.
You guys are familiar with everything that has happened
everyone all 10 of you watching right now certainly are aware. You know, we go for the Mario world record. Power goes out. We try to live stream. Power goes out. We lose connection. And then we ultimately set the record. Joe Day, nephew of Walter Day, as you're seeing in the photo there. Joe Day authorizes the record. He saw it. You know, we set a world record.
We got 2 personal certificates. Very
personalized, handwritten. What more can you say? It's actually more kind of official if you handwrite something. Then you fabricate something on a computer.
For a little bit of context too, you boys. You know, when I was when I was having dinner with you that night, you know, I was supposed to be there. You know, Joe, of course, you know, covered for me at the last minute. Eternally grateful for that. But you know, we had just sat down to dinner. We were having a nice time. You know, my wife May calls me up on my phone. May Day. She says, you know, where are you? What are you doing? I had completely spaced on my stepson's softball game.
Oh, I've heard about this. You're recently married, or how long is this really the marriage?
So I founded Twin Galaxies in 1981.
Of course. Oh yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, tell the viewers.
You know, good run. You know, from 1981 to 2010. You know, I was a founder. I was the head of Twin Galaxies. But I decided at 2010 it was time to step away. You know, I needed to kind of back off from the scene. You know, I was getting up there in years. I needed to, you know, I'm 69 years old now. I need that.
You look so good.
I try to stay active. You know, I walk to and from my son's softball games.
So you were telling us that night. No, you go on about your relationship. I do want to talk about the softball game because on that Wednesday you kind of went into detail about why you had to leave, and we'll get into that. But tell us more about your life, your relationship.
So 2010 was kind of a trying time for me. You know, being the head of an international organization that tracks video game scores for classic arcade games is it's a demanding position. I was a little bit lost, honestly, after I left Twin Galaxies. You know, I officially unofficiated, you know, a couple of arcades. You know, I would kind of walk around town, sometimes fly to random cities, St. Louis, you know, Detroit.
For instance, yeah.
You know, just
of all places.
I would walk into an arcade. You know, usually I would try to find the corner of the arcade where they have jammed all of the classic games. Sometimes the 2-in-1 Miss Pac-Man Galaga game, or you know, the Centipede game that barely functions.
Are you saying this is what you have been doing in the meantime since your retirement?
Oh yes, I've never stopped. You know, I'm trying to always cultivate new talent.
You've been officiating kind of on the side after you retired.
Yes.
Unofficially, or as you said,
officially, unofficially officiating.
Right,
like
officially unofficiating, as you said. Yeah. So you're approaching, you know, whether it be kids or adults in these arcades and let's say remote locations in America, across the country. What you're going up to these kids and what are you saying? They're playing Pac-Man. What are you going up to these kids and saying? Are you helping them? Are you giving them advice?
Well, it seems kids nowadays aren't kind of aware of, you know, good arcade etiquette. You know, I talk about placing a quarter on top of the console, you know, to reserve your spot.
Yeah.
I talk about not calling the game a piece of shit that's old because Fruit Ninja was occupied by someone and that's what they want to play.
Right. And they only have 1 quarter left, and that's the only game that takes 1 quarter to play.
Yes. I would say actually 9 times out of 10 children actually walk, you know, the last token that they have is usually sunk into a Centipede or a Miss Pac-Man game because they simply cannot afford to play another round of Fruit Ninja, which takes at the very least 2 tokens.
I would say upward of 8 tokens to play a game like that, you know, in this era.
It's a high quality game.
The graphics are much better.
To an arcade in Los Angeles or New York, yes, sometimes it can take up to 32 tokens to play 1 5-minute round of Fruit Ninja.
Yeah, and these you know, and these coastal elites just don't get it. But we'll talk about that later, okay? So you're going up to these kids, and what are these kids pursuing a record, or why does it warrant your involvement?
Well, I'm trying to stoke that fire inside of them. I'm trying to get these kids passionate about ratcheting up those high scores, pushing the boundaries of the machines. You know, just getting them involved in the scene.
Pushing social boundaries as well.
Yes, you know, of a 69-year-old man talking to anywhere from a 7 to a 12-year-old boy, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially in the realm of the arcade. When all we're trying to do is we're trying to push numbers, we're trying to push boundaries, We're trying to go on a journey together, and we're trying to, put up some high numbers.
A 69-year-old man wearing a referee outfit, constantly stalking or befriending, preteens in an arcade, chastising them at times. That's within the scope. If you're in an arcade, you should respect the rules of the game.
I don't think it's unexpected that a man, an elderly man, will walk up to you in a referee jersey and critique your play. I think that's a perfectly functional part of American society, and I don't see what's wrong with it.
We've accepted referees in the context of, say, a football field. They're allowed to run willy-nilly, make whatever call they want. Why is it any different in your local arcade or barcade? What do you think? How do you feel about barcades?
To tell you the truth, Robert, I am not a fan of the barcade. I feel like that it belittles the integrity of the sports.
Yeah.
You don't go back to the football. I'm sure some football players maybe show up a little drunk, a little high. Maybe they've been doing Quaaludes or some other sort of
course
opiate before they get onto the field. But I like to keep my video games clean, pure. We all go on this spiritual journey together, and if we want to participate in it to the best of our abilities, we gotta have a clean mind.
Clear eyes, clear hearts, clear cell, the Friday Night Lights, that sort of thing.
I think the other thing really that kind of maybe bums me out about barcades too is just the treatment of the equipment.
That's exactly what I just wanted to ask you. I've heard these reports recently about these young kids defacing the arcade cabinets with crude depictions of this Bowsette character. Can you go into
Not
that?
to mention obey stickers.
It's become quite an epidemic. My stepson unfortunately has been participating in this as of late, especially around the home where I have over 700 arcade cabinets in a 2,000 square foot house.
Wow, fantastic.
It does make moving in the house rather difficult.
I've heard you've had to form kind of a single hallway that traverses the length of the house, and that's the only unoccupied space. But you can play two games at once as you're walking down the hallway.
The house is a large open warehouse with no distributable rooms or any sorts of hallways or bathrooms whatsoever, just a warehouse of storing arcade machines. But I like to think of it as a home, and I will defend that term quite adamantly.
So tell me, what do you think about Bowsette specifically?
Well,
kind of
my son seems, I observed his behavior a few months ago. He obviously, especially in recent weeks, the phenomenon has really been picking up steam. He would walk around occasionally. He would walk up to the, various arcade cabinets, say Space Invaders.
Yeah.
He would place a crown, the pink and gold crown on top of one of the Space Invader models. Sometimes he would draw crude boobs onto the Space Invaders model.
Okay.
And he.
That's pretty frightening.
Yeah, I believe he described it as crank down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard that term.
I've seen this happening a lot with specifically Space Invaders. It's a very odd fascination.
Yeah.
It's one, I get it. It's kind of one of the sexier games of that era. And, the metaphor of invading someone's space is pretty potent still these days. Right. Not, in this era, it's not a good metaphor, but back then.
I feel like people sometimes forget too. We did have a rash, back in 1983 when Dragon's Lair came out. For those of you unfamiliar with that game, it features rather scantily clad woman on the side of the art in the box of the arcade cabinet. We had the same sort of thing back then in '83. Young men maybe having a hard time controlling their youthful urges, but the Bowsette trends seem to be kind of descending into a depravity and a gratuity of defacing, priceless, wonderful arcade machines. I simply cannot, endorse. Not exactly sure where this trend started, but it does seem to be kind of virulently plaguing the arcades of North America.
Right. So that answers that question. In your spare time, you've been kind of you've been officially unofficiating on the side, but
I will say one more thing. I guess I have heard that Banksy is supposedly the one that started the Bowsette movement.
That sounds right.
I mean, you don't like that fucking guy who even knows what goes on in that fucked up brain of his, that beautiful mind kind of that he has going on. And I wish I knew, here's the thing. I wish I knew who that guy was. For me, it's like, who the fuck is he? What do you think? Maybe that's just me.
Who do you think it is?
Now, you don't have to speculate, but I mean, I just want you to agree that it'd be pretty nice to know who he is. He's done such incredible work.
Do you think he'll ever let us know? Let us in?
I think eventually when Ben,
I think he owes us that. Yeah.
In my line of work, in my years of experience, I find that, as soon as people start really achieving those high scores, which I think Banksy is on the brink of doing with his art, he'll eventually reveal himself. The high scorer inside all of us eventually wants to come out and claim the record. That is just a human drive. And I learned that in the arcade, and I think that is 100% applicable to real life.
Right, that kind of drive to, destroy your enemies, whether it be in the free market or in a video game or a sports game, in the workplace, politically.
That is the inescapable gravity of humanity, as far as I know.
Right, we can't change it. So anyway, tell us about. I know you've had some interesting times. You had kind of a run-in with the law. We'll get to that in a moment. But tell me more about how you met your wife and your relationship with your stepson, because this is really the fascinating stuff for me, the personal story behind you.
Well, I think we should probably jump back to 2010, and it might actually make sense to actually talk about the prison stint, in my run-in with the law a little bit back in 2010. So, leaving Twin Galaxies, in 2010, I, was kind of in a dark place, didn't exactly know what to do with myself, unofficially officiating, tons of different, random children inside arcade games, sort of corralling them together, maybe some would say forcing them to play games like Donkey Kong or Galaga.
Kind of roping off that section while they're in there, creating a border, unassailable.
Yes. Some sort of physical separation between them and their parents while they played the high score, tried to play for the high score.
Right.
It became a little bit of a dark place. I remember one specifically time, though, this is where things sort of went sour. I was in Utah and Salt Lake City. I found a wonderful pinball establishment.
Oh yeah, I think I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
What was it called?
And of course, a perennial favorite of mine, of course, is the Addams Family pinball machine. I think that is a arcade classic. If I don't see that in an arcade, I usually kind of question the sanity or the business acumen of the management there.
Yep.
My problem with this particular arcade machine, though, is that the front left leg was a little bit wobbly. It was a little. I would, if I had to, hazard to guess at the time, and I remember this pretty vividly, it was at least a quarter, if not half an inch, off of the ground.
Wow. One of the legs was lifted. It was a wobbly machine. Okay.
Which, of course, would give a player an unfair tilt advantage. And it would compromise the high score integrity of the game. And the children I was currently corralling around that pinball machine. I wanted to make sure that it was a level playing field, literally a level playing field.
That's a good point. And any record that, you never know, these kind of wonderkins step up and set a record. You're there filming, of course. You're documenting it. Mm-hmm. If a record were to become legal, you can send that VHS tape into Joe Today, who's running Twin Galaxies now, and he'll verify it. So you want to make sure the record is legal.
What'd you do about the wobbly pinball machine?
Well, of course, I called the management over. This is a 23-year-old kid who was on staff at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was the assistant manager. I told him, I had a problem with this. We need to kind of get down here. Do you have any tools that we can use to adjust this leg? Kind of make sure that we're not having this wobble tilt issue. He told me, I believe in his words, in the court, stenographer in the court records kind of reflect this, to get bent.
Oh yeah.
I told him that he could, if he would only simply, lay down on the ground, after that little exchange he had with me, and just look, I bet him $50 that this leg is at least a quarter, if not half an inch off of the ground.
Yeah.
And once he was down there, this is where things get a little bit hazy, even according to the court records.
Right.
And eyewitness testimony from 3 children that I had corralled into and around the pinball machine.
So he's lying on the ground next to the pinball machine and inspecting one of the legs to ensure that it is at least, about this far off the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just one of those unfortunate accidents where, of course, the pinball machine was certainly off the ground. I believe that, for whatever, force of gravity or just, accident that it sort of tipped over.
Perhaps a gust of wind.
In the intensity of pinball, what can you expect?
Yeah, sometimes air conditioning units inside arcades can be rather powerful. We want to make sure that the cabinets are kept at a constant cool temperature. So I believe a gust of wind from the air conditioner blew the pinball machine over on top of the 23-year-old assistant manager's head.
Crushing his skull. If I recall from the court records, it did crush this young man's skull to death.
Yes, very viscerally crushed this young man's skull.
And let me
like a rifle.
Hold on. I think you mentioned this on Wednesday. You were a story consultant on Breaking Bad, right? For that episode where the ATM crushes that guy's head?
I did have creative input, and I did receive a check from that particular
That's
episode,
fantastic, yeah.
royalties.
I see.
A really moving episode. And I suspected it was based on a true story.
Yeah, it's I like that you bring that up. It's always wonderful. I'm also a musician. It's wonderful to hear that people recognize me for my work beyond Twin Galaxies.
Right. I heard you.
I was really happy when the musical documentary they made, King of Kong. I was really happy when they made that about me. It allowed me to get my album out there and kind of push record sales. It was a wonderfully exciting time.
It's been about a decade since I've seen it, but wasn't King of Kong kind of about the battle between Billy Mitchell and Steve Wiebe to set the high score for Donkey Kong? It was kind of centered on that world and specifically the Donkey Kong record.
No, unfortunately, that was kind of happening at the same time as my album release, which just happened to be called, The King of Kong: A Fistful of Quarters. It was a weird time for coincidences back then.
That was the name of your album as well.
Yes.
And this is not to be confused with the official soundtrack to the movie.
Right.
Yes.
Also called that.
Yes.
Okay.
So what kind of music have you pursued since your retirement?
I mostly play bluegrass soul music. Some blues guitar, as some would say down in New Orleans. I mostly focus on that, especially acoustic. I enjoy that mostly.
I heard you were especially proficient at the ragtime piano, that whole genre.
I actually heard it was kind of a mashup genre you were working on between ragtime and scat music, where you don't actually play an instrument.
Oh.
You simulate ragtime music with your mouth?
I have been dabbling on SoundCloud with that sort of experimental music.
That's how you get out there these days.
Unfortunately, I haven't. It seems like most of the younger people who kind of frequent SoundCloud prefer to drift towards the SoundCloud rappers. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that seem to attract most of the hits, most of the listens. But I feel like I have a dedicated following of at least 3 individuals who frequently check out my.
That's kind of your guys. You got you got your hot 3. That it's kind of like your MySpace top 8. You've got your 3 guys that are always going to check the new track.
3 turns into 6, 6 turns into 12. I believe again, life is a journey. We're all with a spiritual, voyage together. And if you put your energy out there into the universe, it'll come back to you in the form of hits and likes
and high scores.
And high scores, of course.
I think it's kind of in the era of social media. The like is the new high score. The share button, that's the new killing a monster. You understand?
At Twin Galaxies, we have explored having high scores. We're having a special category for Facebook likes and Twitter retweets.
LeBron James maybe, wins a record for high score for most likes on a tweet.
Yes.
Maybe this Twitch stream could get some high scores.
Yeah, we're sitting at about 11 right now, which is a low score. But the people we got in the chat, I do think are. I don't want to, get political, but some of the best people.
They're bonus what I mean? Points. They're bonus points.
Yeah, in mine, some of the very best people. Yeah, I don't want to get political. Sorry. But that's how I feel about the chat. So thank you, especially Papa Nooch.
So going back to 2010.
Yeah, Chris, would you describe your music as post genre? Yeah.
I would describe it as post genre.
Okay, moving on.
All right. I have to say I find it kind of odd that we quickly glossed over
the murder. Well, I don't know.
The murder.
The court. What ultimately the pinball machine lands on the guy's head. Some would say an accident, some would say cold-blooded murder.
What would be your perspective?
And what did the court ultimately rule?
Well, of course, I'm a man that abides by systems. I respect systems, and the court system is no different. When I was, of course, after the mixed witness testimonies of what actually happened that day. Again, I in my claim, stiff air conditioner breeze is what finally tipped over the unsafe machines I pointed out to numerous people inside the arcade. Other people said that I was on the opposite side of the machine.
I meant to say
very casually leaning into it, whistling, in a very casual manner.
Yeah.
And that force is actually what tipped it over. Other people say I very adamantly pushed the machine over onto the man's head, the 23-year-old assistant manager's head.
Did you kill him?
Did you kill this man?
Well, if we want to go by the court records, of course, I was taken, arraigned, Salt Lake City, Utah, down to the local courthouse. I spent 3 weeks in jail awaiting my trial date. I was, of course, on trial for murder one. I was able to plead that down to involuntary manslaughter and was sent to the Salt Lake City penitentiary for 6 months, where I was then shocked out of the system. After calling the judge a big, strong man, he praising him unequivocally. He shocked me out.
And we've all heard the most recent episodes of Serial, which deals with this very subject. And what it comes down to is plea bargains. They're trying to rush people out of the system. We've got Salt Lake City is kind of a hotbed of crime. So when you've got only a few prosecutors, you've only got so many judges. You're going to try to flush these guys out of the system. So ultimately what maybe appears to be premeditated murder one as you called it, gets plead down to involuntary manslaughter, which is a misdemeanor. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Fantastic.
And again, huge respect for the court system. We also explored, seeing, a high score category for lawyers, how many plea deals they were able to achieve within a specific time frame.
Wow.
It was never able to officially be added into the Twin Galaxies repertoire because we could never agree on the time.
Yeah, that's very hard to do that. Is it true that when your short time awaiting trial in prison, you were you viewing the inmates in the prison yard is how you came up with the concept of the game Rampage?
Actually, that is true. I believe we've all seen the new movie with The Rock. I was also a consulting, creative voice on that. They wanted to, little known fact, I was actually one of the original creators of Rampage back in the day. I believe Wikipedia will corroberate that.
It will after I edit it.
I would hope that somebody would edit the article and add that information.
They can cite this as a source.
Day did help create the original game Rampage.
That's fantastic. So you get out of prison, basically not guilty is what, that's what the record's going to show. You did not murder him. That's fair.
As far as we're concerned.
As far as the legal record shows, you didn't plead to murder. So now let's step back a little bit.
Yeah,
let's talk a little bit more about Cosmic D. And I do want to apologize. We've been calling him Cosmic Kid, and that's my bad. Because I saw the name, I'm not a big reader. I don't want to say I'm dyslexic because I'm not. I just don't take the time to look at the words. I don't have time, 1 letter, 2 letter, 3 letters, 4 letters. I just say, what does it look like? This is how I pronounce people's names in person. It doesn't matter. So the guy's name is, what is it? Cosmic D12.
The D is what throws me off.
It doesn't seem like that's part of one word.
What does that mean?
Cosmic? No. Anyway. So we want to apologize to him for getting his name wrong. We also want to apologize for the level of kind of hostility I showed toward him. Perhaps I was imagining those snipers on the roof across our parking lot. Perhaps I wasn't. But who can even tie that to him? So I want to apologize to him. We were casting aspersions. It is in the record. Our lawyers agreed. He did, crash that plane into the power plant, knocking out our power. That did happen.
But you know what? It's fine.
It's water under the bridge.
We've spoken with him. It turns out he's a pretty cool dude.
He's just kind of a good guy. You know what I mean, Walter?
I do. Well, again, my mind kind of snaps back because my adult stepson, Theodore, is quite an adamant fan of the rap group called D12. So I always assumed that when I saw Cosmic's name jump up to the top of the Super Mario Brothers, world record list, I assumed that it was Cosmic Dirty Dozen.
That must be what it is.
Yeah.
As his name was alluding to, because my adult stepson will constantly blare that music inside the house to try to drown out the sound of the 700 raging arcade machines inside our...
All running, all plugged in.
Right.
Yes, constantly plugged in.
Here's the thing with Cosmic D12. We mentioned in the last stream when we actually got the world record that he had reimbursed us for all the troubles we had gone through he gave us over $100,000 worth of backup generators, and we've decided to send the money back to him we didn't want to do it all at once, but we thought it would be more appropriate, maybe just a little more spicy.
Yeah.
To
give it a little spicy.
Just a little spice. Maybe not as spicy as our hot.
Yeah.
It's too loud.
Okay.
We're going to give him all the money back.
Yeah.
$150,000 worth.
Yeah.
Just small increments.
Right.
Just little Amazon purchase here and there, just whatever we think may be fun.
We'll check out his Amazon wish list, and he's like, oh, he's kind of looking at this dehumidifier for his bedroom. That's $30.
Yeah.
Click.
Show up on the doorstep.
Click. Shows up 2 days later on the doorstep. So it's $150,000, but we're going to space it out with, we kind of feel like it's not humility if you're attaching your name to a gift. So we're sending that $150,000 back in small increments, whether it be Cosmic Kid is looking at a new pair of leather gloves. Winter's coming.
Yeah,
I'm a Game of Thrones guy, but anyway.
Right.
Or you might, he's like thinking about ordering a pizza, and maybe he says that on his stream, and we are watching.
Oh, we're watching.
we got eyes everywhere. We're gonna order that. We're gonna say, hey Cosmic, this is one of my alt accounts. Hey, don't worry about the pizza. I'm gonna send it to you, and that's I'll get him the Supreme pizza.
When I met you boys, I knew you were wonderful sports, good sportsmanship, integrity. Like I said, having dinner with you that last evening was wonderful. I think it's really big of you to kind of rescind your record, try to get back Cosmic D12.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as he said, we brought him on. We want to check the rule book. Is it possible for us to rescind our world record? We want it fair and square. But he's a great guy.
He's just a good guy.
He's out there grinding. This is his livelihood. He quit his job, presumably. He's working on videos and streams and clips and downloads, upvotes, whatever you want to call it. He's out there grinding. This is his livelihood. Give him the record back.
How fair is it?
We've got jobs.
Just come in and take it in one day.
This is not my day job, okay? I'm not belittling and degrading myself by doing this full time. I go to work, okay?
We got jobs.
Brian makes $65,000 a year.
Boy.
That is his actual salary.
We may be great people, as you said, Walter Day, but I don't want to understate how great Cosmic D12 is.
So when again, we've talked about it before. I know you boys are battling with your true nature. It's not within the human being's capacity to give up the high score.
I don't like to call it giving it up. I like to call it passing it on.
It's a wonderful way of looking at it. Of course, I do
Thank you so much for saying that.
The rule book right here about what we actually need to do in this particular case, because back in 1981, we did envision such a scenario happening.
You actually spelled this out in the rule book.
Oh yes, very explicitly.
That's amazing foresight.
I'd say about page 47 out of 300.
That book, those must be very thin pages.
They are incredibly thin. In Twin Galaxies, we believed in efficiency. So let's take a look here. Here we are, right here. Page 43, section 2, paragraph 7.
We got Simna in the chat. Just wanted to say.
What's up, Simna?
Go on.
Right.
We're going to room in Genesis, by the way. Go on.
We're going to have to, there's an official process to this. There is an actual an oath you have to recite, that an official acknowledgement that you are rescinding your record, and all claims to it in perpetuity.
You're saying the two of us need to recite this simultaneously?
Yes, simultaneously.
Okay, so we'll repeat it back.
Are we sure about this?
I just want to make this clear. You can pursue the record in the future, but you are rescinding
Calvar, what's up?
to the world record attempt you just made. Do we understand one another?
I'm not gonna say I'm totally sober, but I am willing. We are rescinding the record. We're giving it back to Cosmic. He's a great guy. He deserves it. So I think we're ready. Let's do
make
this.
This real.
All right. Repeat after me.
Will do.
I. Please insert name here.
Please insert name.
Robert, come on.
Oh,
okay. Are you being funny?
No, you're being funny.
Is this real?
Stop
Brian,
it. Keep going.
You'd be just like Billy, that you would razz me when that happens. Every time, Billy's such a humble man. Billy Mitchell, he's had to rescind multiple records. Of course,
he's a good person.
To say your name there. Your brother caught that, but I knew you would razz me just like Billy. By repeating exactly what I just said there.
He's an inspiration.
He's a great guy.
Maybe even better than Cosmic D12.
Okay,
He's a
continue.
wonderful man and a wonderful manufacturer of hot sauce.
Start over, really fast.
I,
insert your name here,
Brian.
Robert,
Thanks for
do
following.
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I
that
that
I
will now
will
will
now
now
rescind
rescind
the record
the record
for
for
insert video game title here.
Mario Brothers 1, Super Mario Brothers.
Nintendo. Do we need to restart? Was that
No, keep going.
That I earned
That I
I
earned
earned
on
on
insert date here.
last
last Friday.
Good enough. I will also
I will
I will
also
also
forfeit
forfeit
any future
any
any
future
future
bragging rights,
Bragging rights.
monetary income streams,
monetary income
income
streams.
or
Thanks,
sex,
What?
or sex
Or sex
that will come
that will
That
come
will come
or could come
or,
or
could come
from a result
from a result
of earning this record.
of earning
earning
this
this
record.
record.
Amen.
Amen. That feels good. That feels really good. So, guys, that's official. We have given the record back to Cosmic Kid. We set the record fair and square.
You earned it.
And, you know, Cosmic
Maybe.
Kid, you've been grinding. You've earned it. You know, you do you, and we'll do us, and never the twain shall meet. I don't want to see your fucking face again. Not in my city, not in my state. Okay?
We do love you, though.
Do not come into this stream. Okay? You're a great guy, but I've had about enough of you. Fuck you. Okay, so let's also talk about. I want to talk about you rushing out of here 2 Wednesdays ago.
It was
you,
an
in
emergency.
a huff. So we're Walter is just off
I'm
stream.
embarrassed, but I feel, we got to answer these questions. I know, I was supposed to be there. Luckily Joe today, my nephew, was able to cover for me. Last minute. I appreciate him handing out those official certificates to you.
Yeah,
He really did me a solid favor there.
and the resemblance is also striking when I look at you too. Based on this picture on the right side of the screen of Walter comparing to Joe today, it's uncanny.
I know we've been in the uncanny valley, Joe and I, when it comes to a lot of comparisons there. What's real, what's not real. We've had
What is surreal?
what is surreal.
Yeah, what is it? That's what I've said. I don't know what the word means.
I think we need to jump back again. So it's 2011 now. I've been shocked out of the Salt Lake City penitentiary system. I'm walking out. I've been given back. They actually didn't take away my referee jersey when I was inside. I was able to wear that because they said this is pretty close to a prison uniform. This might actually be a reflection of our current, private prison system. Maybe some cost-cutting measures, but they did take my pants and my underwear, but I was able to keep my jersey.
You were walking. Wait, when you were walking around? Sorry, excuse me. You're walking around after you got out of prison, only wearing the referee jersey.
Everything else was taken from me. The police officer said that I would have to Donald Duck it outside of the jail.
I
For
see.
a little while.
So you're walking around bottomless, no shorts, no pants, no shoes or anything, simply wearing the ref jersey. And then what happens?
This is when I met the love of my life, May Green at the time. She was married to another man, but when I was, she was kind enough to, cover me. She would give me her jacket, which I wrapped around the waist. And the first thing I kind of remember about her is the beautiful yellow sheen that to her skin. Turns out that May actually suffers from a rare form of jaundice that, just sort of this. Some people will call it a sallow, sickly, yellowish color.
Yeah.
But to me, she looked like Mrs. Pac-Man. And it took me right
Wow.
back to 1982, the first time I saw the sign of that arcade cabinet, and I knew that I had to have her.
And another thing about her sickness was all the amount of pills that she had to eat to keep her jaundice at bay, her liver functioning correctly. So she's constantly eating these pills. She's got a bright yellow sheen.
Unfortunately, she also has a medical condition where she cannot swallow pills, so she is incapable of holding both a pill and a gulp of water in her mouth at the same time and
Right.
swallowing. So she does physically have to chew.
She has to chew the pills. Yeah.
Yes.
Go on.
Kind of
That's
visceral
charming in its own way.
I found it quaint.
Go on.
That's a stunning story, Walter, and I'm happy for
So
you.
of course, she was kind of on the down and outs with her previous husband at the time. Her and her husband were having some arguments about their adult son and his inability to leave the house at age 40.
Right.
She was unwilling to part with him, whereas the husband was. Eventually they separated, and I quickly swooped in, and we had a whirlwind romance. And now all three of us live in my 2,000 square foot warehouse full of 700 arcade machines.
Fantastic. So you were mentioning last Wednesday, you ran out of here on a huff. You skipped out on dinner, and you're like, I'm sorry, guys, I have to get back. You said you were kind of on the outs with your wife.
Yeah, you were in a huff
May.
with your wife,
her name
son.
So she married in, and her name is Mayday now. Is that correct?
Yes, her name was May Green. It's now Mayday.
Yeah.
My adult son, my stepson, he refused to give up his father's name. His name is Theodore Green. So he has taken my name and hyphenated. His name is Theodore Green Day.
Of course. Yeah.
So of course, I told Theodore, I would not leave him like his previous father. I'd be there for them. I'd be there for his mother. I love them both very dearly. He told me to get bent.
Right. He kind of picked up on the vernacular from the court records.
Yes. He knew that would get under my skin.
Yeah, it's a tense moment.
He seems to sort of live for that, but I love him dearly. He's a wonderful boy.
Right.
But, of course, I told him, I would be there for him, not like his father. I would participate, And unfortunately, I just forgot that on the 3rd, which was, 2 Wednesdays ago, that he had his adult drinking softball league that night. His beer league.
His recreational softball league.
Yeah.
And how old was it? Is Theodore?
Theodore just turned 47. We just celebrated his 47th birthday in June.
Right.
Okay.
And you had missed a number of his softball games, and May was getting a little upset that you were not showing up.
I have been slipping of late. I had missed at least the first 4 out of the 4 games of this season. I could not miss the 5th one.
Right.
So
I guess you could say 5 strikes and you're out.
Yes.
Nice.
Just like in baseball.
Just like in softball. It's a little different the way they do it.
Right.
So
I had to drive across Denver. You guys live on the west side of town. I had to head all the way over to the east side. And I did finally arrive. It was 30 minutes late, but I was able to kind of maybe cool things down after a little bit of heated exchange.
I thought it was true that it was the bottom of the 9th inning, and your drunk 47-year-old stepson was at the plate, and he looked, you could see in his eyes that there was maybe a single tear kind of dripping. He looked a little upset, and as you presumed, it was because you hadn't shown up, and you promised you would.
Mm-hmm.
And nonetheless, he summons the strength. He takes one drink of his Bud Light, and he summons the strength, and he hits the game-winning home run, and as he's rounding the bases, he crosses home plate and he sees you there. He realizes you actually were there.
Yep. And
tell me about that emotional moment that you shared with him at home plate.
Well, it took a little bit of, of course, when I arrived there, 30 minutes late, obviously the beginning of the game, but, I did manage to meet the umpire in the men's restroom and convince him not only to give me all of his equipment, but to let me officiate the rest of the game. He seemed to have no problem with that. And then for the next 6 innings, I was in charge of running the baseball game.
Balls and strikes and such.
Some would say that I unquestionably favored my son's team. Immediately calling strikes for balls that hadn't even been thrown yet, ejecting players, coaches on the opposing team. But I want to say that I believe in competitive integrity, and I would never do that. We had a clean game, and of course when he hit that, in park in that infield home run, because there was absolutely no one left in the field anymore to catch the ball.
You had actually kicked out a lot of the players, in a dramatic kind of gesture. You would call a strike before a pitch had been thrown. They would turn around and say, "What are you talking about? They hadn't even thrown the pitch," and you're like, "You're fucking out of here."
My son had a wonderful hit. It didn't even make it really kind of past, kind of went heading straight towards the shortstop, just a grounder. Nothing, good solid power behind it. Maybe it would have made it past the baseline.
A good
But of
swing.
course, as soon as it was making it to the shortstop, some people say that I unfairly ejected the shortstop for inappropriate hand gestures towards me, the umpire. Whether that happened or not, no one can say.
No
Of
video
course,
record.
when the second and third baseman also went over there, coincidentally, they too were ejected from the game for inappropriate gestures from the umpire, unsportsmanlike conduct. Um, which, of course, some would say gave my son enough time to round all the bases unopposed and then eventually come in and celebrate the home run.
I've got to say that based on our conversation tonight, you've already established yourself as a fair and unbiased officiator, and
A credible man.
I have no concerns over whether you're telling the truth here.
Why would I doubt your record? The record as an official.
Integrity, that's one of the reasons that we solely at Twin Galaxies only use VHS.
And yeah, when I see a man wearing that shirt, what can I do but believe him? Believe his judgment. He makes a living making these calls.
So you said this was the last straw with your wife. Were you able to resolve any issues you were having, any conflict?
Well, this is sort of kind of been a longer brewing issue between me and her. We sort of had a whirlwind romance. We became really hot. Things have been maybe cooling down a little bit lately. Yeah, she accuses me of maybe not being as intimate as I once was, and that also my requirements for engaging in coitus are a little bit demanding and off-putting for her.
As happens, over the course of a long relationship like this.
I don't know if it's appropriate to ask, but I kind of want to know more about what that means.
Yeah, I don't want to dig any too deep, but
You don't have to say much.
Say what you tell us what that means.
I do think my therapists are actually, I should say our therapists, our marriage counselor has been encouraging us to share a little bit more, maybe, to kind of put ourselves out there, maybe
on stream especially.
Issues.
Yeah.
Is
it true that your marriage counselor streams your sessions, and that's how he makes most of his revenue?
I am aware. I did question the discounted rates for our session time. Paying $15 an hour seemed quite low for a qualified marriage counselor. When I realized that his stream regularly gets over 40,000 viewers every day.
It's not Cosmic D12, is it?
Cosmic D12 is the receptionist at the.
Oh, I see.
Right. He does have a day job.
He does have a day job, but of course he had to get that after you boys had taken the record from him. But I imagine he'll go back to Super Mario Brothers high score time speed run attempts now.
Fantastic. Well, unless you have something to say, right now, maybe we can take some questions from the chat.
That's a good idea.
Unless if you have anything else to say, or if you want to comment on our humility returning the record, or if it compares to anything you've seen in the past. But I will open it up to questions from the chat.
I will say that, I want to kind of dispel a rumor that's been circulating about me. Some say that my wife has been circulating this rumor. I don't think that's the case. Possibly something that may be leaked on stream. Again, 40,000 viewers concurrently is, it's a big number for my therapist. There's a lot of talk about me being a 4-pump chump, which is, of course, related to the game Dig Dug, which I have
set up in the bedroom.
Which is our bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard this.
Yeah, we've all heard
people
this.
claim that I have a sexual proclivity to the game Dig Dug, and that I cannot perform sexually unless the game Dig Dug is in the background, and I can hear constantly the cycling sound of the air pump exploding enemies.
I picked up on this on your last album. You had one song called I Fuck to Dig Dug exclusively. Or maybe it was just called I Fuck to Dig Dug. And what was that all about? That is literal? That you will only have sex with the sound of a Dig Dug arcade cabinet in the background?
Some say that there's a hollowed out hole inside of the back of the Dig Dug cabinet in my bedroom that's near the cot that me and my wife share in the 2,000 square foot warehouse full of 700 arcade cabinets. This is a baseless rumor. Supposedly my stepson has set up. My adult stepson has also set up live streaming cameras inside of the arcade facility that I call home. But this is all hearsay. Me and my wife, we're working through our issues. We love each other dearly, and I'm sure we're going to come out on the other end of this much stronger couple.
So what you're telling the stream is that you're not, in fact, a 4-pump chump.
I would dispute, of course, because, of course, there are various concerns or, variations of the game Dig Dug. Some people would claim that sometimes it takes 5 pumps for Dig Dug to slay an enemy.
Okay.
Depending on what release of the game you're playing. But, yes, I would dispute that I am not a 4-pump chump.
I do want to say that Joe 2D said Dick Doug in the chat.
Oh,
He
that's-
just said it one time. Dick Doug. So we got a question from the chat. Calvar wanted to know, should wobbling be banned from Super Mario Brothers 1 speedruns? As an official, what do you say?
So we kind of like to take a hands-off approach when it comes to games. I think one of the most interesting things we've seen, of course, from speed running is that especially classic games in particular, is that when they were released, any bugs or features inside those games, that is as they were intended, right? If the bug wasn't catched, warping, wobbling, if you will, it's Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah.
Those are acceptable means of playing the game. I believe in the creativity, the spiritual acumen of players to sort of put their energy into the video game, sense where these bugs are, figure them out, and then, of course, exploit them for high scores and low times.
Fantastic answer. Thank you. Almost rehearsed. That was so good. We have JC Pone in the chat. His name is JC Pone? JC Pune? Anyway, he said, what is the record for Flappy Bird? I'm going to assume, how many flaps?
There is actually an ongoing record attempt from Flappy Bird that has been, an iPhone, I believe, that had Flappy Bird, one of the last ones that had it installed before it was pulled. It was purchased for about $11,379. That individual is currently still playing Flappy Bird. They have refused to leave the Twin Galaxy facility.
Fantastic.
Any attempt to remove them has been, met with violence. And of course, there's actually a live streaming camera on that particular individual, and that's become a major revenue stream for Twin Galaxies. So as of now, the current Flappy Bird record is 3,793,263,572 flaps.
And what is it now? Go on.
I'll have to get back on the stream and look.
Well, okay, whenever you get a chance.
The flaps are changing continuously.
Yeah.
They're going up, they're going down. It's unpredictable.
Question from Simna. Do you have any food allergies? This might be related to an ongoing conversation in the chat, not related to what we're talking about, but do you have any food allergies? That's a question.
I am violently allergic to curry, any sort of Indian curry that may come around. That's been a sticking point for me because I absolutely refuse to stop eating it. I love it. It's one of the most delicious things I put in my mouth. But, it's been a real heaven or hell situation with me.
Okay, I have a follow-up question on that. What is your opinion on corn?
Corn is a touchy subject for me. My father was a corn farmer.
Okay. We won't dive into
Okay, we don't have to
it.
touch that.
That's fine.
We had a strained relationship.
Strained corn. That sounds good.
I take that question back. That was too far.
It's fine. Again,
You
my
told me
therapist-
about that at the dinner party.
Hannah says, Mr. Day, would you say that corporation will list billionaires of the true high score achievers?
Jeff Bezos has recently been contacting Twin Galaxies successfully, trying to claim again that he has the high score for life.
Right.
And we need to acknowledge that. Of course, Mr. Bezos is measuring that score in actually dollars earned. It is indisputable that he currently is the richest man on the planet.
Yeah.
I believe with how many untold billions of dollars? Hundreds of billions of dollars now in wealth.
About 150.
$150 billion. Again, this has been an ongoing conversation within. We've seen a lot of gamification in education and work. So there's been ongoing. I anonymously will email Twin Galaxies using my personal email address to kind of give them suggestions about. Should we include this? Should we include that? And of course, life is actually becoming a game. A lot of people are considering. There are winners and there are losers.
No truer words, Walter. Kevin Papanuch pointed out we skipped a question. He said, "Can you guys give me the record? Come on, let me have this one." So how do you address that?
Well, if we're going to go back to paragraph 8, which follows paragraph 7 on page 43, section 2.
I'm very curious to hear what the
Unfortunately
rulebook
for
says.
Papa Nooch, that is, once you have already officially revoked the record, it is no longer yours to give.
So he is going to have to contact Cosmic D12 to get the record out of our hands.
Well, unfortunately, again, when you, after just going through our little, dismissal there when we rescinded the record, you have, not only have you forfeited your claim to that record, but in fact, you have distorted the space-time continuum
Yeah.
going back into the past where that event has never actually occurred.
Yeah, you don't have to explain anymore. We all get it.
There's a reason that our video game high score tracking agency was called Twin Galaxies.
Yeah, we get it. Enough. Okay, next question. Go ahead, Brian.
Which question were we asking?
I thought you said you wanted that one.
Okay, we can ask Chris that one. I mean, Walter. Let's see if you're familiar with this one. What is a more depressing game disappearance, in your opinion, Walter? Flappy Bird or PT? Did you play PT?
I unfortunately never had the pleasure of playing PT.
It's too late for you, so I guess that one's not as depressing for you. Now that it has disappeared forever.
Okay. I don't know what that is. I'm not smart.
Me and Joe, we know.
We have another question from JCPWN. John Clark Poole says, Mr. Day, how do you keep up with an overwhelming abundance of game records? What type of data servers are you guys running? AWS, Azure?
We have moved away from cloud-based architecture. We believe that it's too easily, obviously the convenience of having a cloud-based architecture where you have software as a service, it's constantly upgraded, you don't have to worry about that, is convenient. But we're concerned about security risk in this day of, cybersecurity. So all of our records have been moved onto an old Commodore 64 computer that has a simple comma-separated file spreadsheet that keeps track of all the high scores.
Yeah, as most of us were expecting you to answer, of course. Thank you for answering. Follow-up question from John Clark Poole. Popcorn, why did they take me from you?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's referring to, but maybe you do.
Do you understand?
I believe you might be referring to my adopted dog, Popcorn, that I actually got from the set of the Smash Bros. Documentary.
Oh, you're familiar with the Smash Bros. I didn't know you were even there or around.
Oh, big fan.
Wow.
As a fellow creator of music, and of course, I was obviously a movie star myself in The King of Kong. I felt, of course, I gravitated towards your work, and of course, I gravitated towards the magnetism of Popcorn.
Fantastic. What's the next question here? It's hard for me to do it when this is happening. How have you guys been cracking down on the black market of selling world records? From Hannah. Hannah in the chat.
The black market, of course, of the dark web has been growing lately. But again, I would like this to kind of go back to our, the only acceptable method of submitting world record attempts to Twin Galaxies. And again, Twin Galaxies was, I maybe was a little bit nebulous about that before. Have you ever seen the movie Interstellar?
Yeah, of course.
That's based on the founding of Twin Galaxies.
In the same way, the first two acts, amazing. The final act, a little off-putting, a little basic. Would you agree?
A little basic.
Okay. The next question.
I will say, I guess I could kind of come back to that. Again, the only acceptable way of submitting world record attempts to Twin Galaxies, even in the year 2018, is through VHS. It's the only thing that we accept.
Yeah.
The only
VHS
form
is
of media
unhackable,
that is
uneditable.
right.
Can't be compromised.
We believe in the integrity of the VHS and that it is a perfect, flawless system for recording digital media.
And as I've been told, there's no way to upload or transfer a VHS to a computer.
There's absolutely no way to do that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people in the chat.
It does not exist.
There are a lot of references to corn. I have to apologize for asking that question. I don't really know the fascination, why the chat's zoning in on the corn.
Someone wants to know, is it the word corn or is it the plant itself? And how does corned beef hash fit into the equation?
The hash made from the beef that's fed corn. My father was actually, he was a livestock farmer who fed, he grew corn to feed the cows to make hash.
And you're a big hashish guy, right?
Yes. And what I mean by making hash, is that the cows were then ground up and used as fertilizer to plant into the fields to grow the hash.
And you would smoke it?
By the age of 4, I had smoked quite a bit of hash.
Okay, thank you. Have you ever considered making your own game and then never releasing it so that you can have the world record?
I have thought about that on several occasions. I can never settle on a genre,
Okay,
and that's always been the limiting factor.
I would go with beat 'em up.
Beat 'em up games are quite fun.
Yeah.
Hard to kind of quantify though. Again, speed records for things like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and of course they exist. But those games I never sort of kind of gravitated towards them. They were never my cup of. Perhaps a pinball game. I do have again strong affinity for making sure that all pinball games are a level playing field, and anyone deviates from that level playing field should be punished to the utmost ability of those near them.
I fear that based on your history with pinball, it may be best just to steer clear of it.
So I have been advised that by both my wife and my lawyers.
Of course. Simna wants to know, he wants to stream a game that he's never played before. What game do you recommend he streams? Like maybe something outside of the box.
I don't know how far out of the box it is, but Burger Time has always been a perennial favorite of mine.
Of course.
Classic game, released in 1982. I have fond memories of that arcade cabinet, and of course all the burgers on it. It made me hungry quite a lot looking and staring at that cabinet.
You're kind of a burger guy, right?
I'm a big fan of burgers.
Aren't you? You're kind of traveling around the country, visiting diners, drive-ins, dives, etc., trying to find kind of the most American down-home burger. Is that true?
I have actually been,
This is a question from the chat.
I'm a consulting, another consulting creative on Guy Fieri's show, Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives. So most of the locations that you see on that show are selected by me. First going there and then consuming a burger, mostly burgers or other fare at that particular establishment.
John wants to know about, you don't even have to answer it, I'm just going to say it, Cornish hens, Cornish game hens. How do you feel about that word or thing?
One
Cornish
word.
game hens?
Into it.
I'm actually, it's one of the most detestable forms of meat to me. Again, my father... I respect cows for the wonderful fertilizer that they can make because they're so large in mass. Grinding them up and putting them in the soil, that decomposition allows you to produce wonderful hash.
Of course.
Hens, on the other hand, too small to adequately fertilize the hash plants.
What about the band corn?
Band corn is a wonderful band.
Would you draw inspiration from their music?
When he's not raging to the Dirty Dozen, he is constantly, as he says, thrashing to corn.
Right.
And to get out of my room, old man, which is actually a rectangular shaped encasement, sort of enclosure made from various arcade cabinets.
We have one more
I heard
question.
he's also somewhat of a juggalo. Your son.
He is a juggalo. He does believe strongly in the message and the music of the Insane Clown Posse.
I feel like that ref jersey may look good in the Juggalo community.
Yeah, with a little black. You can make your face have that same pattern.
I have woken up at night with him standing over me and crudely painting my face with his fingers, black and white, Juggalo makeup.
We have a question from Yellow Ninja. Have you ever officiated yourself obtaining a new world record?
I have taped myself officiating a record. So I wanted to make sure that on the replay of the tape from the other tape that I was actually doing a good job.
What game was that? Or do you want to?
So this is actually, coincidentally enough, I'm kind of jumping back to 1981 right now. This is actually a game of Frogger.
Fantastic.
Frogger was contentious back in the day. When that came out in 1981, it really blew everyone away. We had a lot of world record attempts on Frogger. A lot of Frogger fever.
Okay. I can't say that. Too vulgar, Simna. I'm not going to ask the question about that.
Is it about me having yellow fever from my wife?
Oh, no. It wasn't that.
That's fine.
No. Wow. So it's been a fantastic. That's about an hour and 10 minutes of interview. What else do you have to say? Do you have any kind of closing remarks, or when it comes down to it, how do you view your legacy, and how how do you view kind of your work with us as kind of a symbol for that legacy?
I feel like it's a perpetuation of my integrity. Working with you gentlemen, where of course I've come to appreciate you, your video game play, the sauces you make. I know that you're good people, and I like to surround myself with the good spiritual energy of good people. And that's going to take me forward on this journey in life as I, with my wife May, my adult son Theodore. We're going to keep on trucking and go on that journey together.
I think this is a big milestone in the speed running and the Mario community. I feel like Cosmic Kid and Damien and
Cosmic D12.
Right.
In 2018 we've been lacking some stability, and I feel like rescinding this record, giving it back to Cosmic D12, Cosmic the Dirty Dozen. I think he'll really appreciate that. And I think we all need to come together now, maybe rescind more records, more civil to one another, and eventually we'll meet some sort of middle place where every side sort of gets what they want, even if one side is completely on such a far extreme that the middle is not that middle at all.
Great advice. Well, answer these questions in one word, if possible. I'm going to give you 2 more questions. We're going to close the floor. Answer these in 1 word if you can. John Clark Palm says, "What's the farthest anyone ever made it in Battletoads versus Double?" Is that what he's saying?
Mm-hmm.
Battletoads versus Double Dragons, not past level 4, right?
I believe.
1 word. 1 word. We'll answer with 1 word. 7.
Good answer. There cannot be a better answer.
It's succinct. Calbar says, and 1 word, you ever just have one of those days? Thank you. Perfect.
It sounds like that.
Yeah, that says it all, really. Wow. Well, that was a true honor to have, I think, our first real celebrity. I mean, Joe today is
he's an up-and-comer.
Kind of a sensation himself, but to have a just bona fide celebrity in the video that we're streaming is cool. I think it's cool. Do you think it's cool?
1 word. I'll answer. Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
That works. Fantastic, guys. So I think that probably concludes our interview. Can we play doubles? Can we set that up?
You want to play doubles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
John and Kevin, are you guys down to play doubles?
All right. I guess we're gonna let you go now.
Let's take a deep break, a very short break. Maybe we could play a video. Can you make that happen?
I don't have anything ready.
No capabilities.
No,
we're just gonna bullshit for a second. You can take me off the screen. I'll just keep talking. Thank you so much, Calvar. We appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody that stuck around that whole time.
Walter, you can't see the chat, but people are
raving,
saying good things.
They're really raving.
Glad to hear it. I'll see you boys for dinner next week.
I can't watch the clip on stream.
Looking forward to that sauce. Tangy, but not too tangy.
Well, the stream is new. We're gonna set up Patreon or something. We're not trying to take your money. Don't give us your money.
It's not a good investment.
Do not pay us. But we're gonna set up that Patreon. And if you give us the money, we're gonna stream more often. I'm gonna get really good at Melee, and then I'm gonna get top 8 at Genesis, and I'll just stream the whole thing. Okay, where's everybody at? Is John in there? I'm gonna text him. You guys keep talking for a second.
Shout outs to CC Chris. It's not related to this interview.
Yeah, we promised that Chris was gonna be here, and I accidentally said his name a few times where I was kind of I'm
just always thinking about Chris.
Yeah, he's kind of always on my mind. And I'm looking at Walter Day, and I'm like, maybe Chris someday could amount to this guy. I could see a future like this for Chris.
I'm talking.
He's a wonderful young man, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to equal, kind of the legacy that I've carved out for myself as well.
I mean, right now he kind of fucking sucks. But if he were,
definitely bottom of the barrel.
He's not a good guy, okay? But
not like Cosmic D12.
Right. Yeah. We need to get him on stream.
Guy.
Need to get him on stream playing a different character. That would be fun.
He can play doubles with us.
Yeah. Where is John? Is he still here? Oh. You set it up. Get it set up. I'm going to get another drink. If you guys want to stick around, we're going to fuck with doubles and show you that craziness. Calvar asked about another parody video. If we want to do another parody when the new Samok stock drops. And I think, no bullshit, we want to do something, but we don't want to repeat ourselves and do the same thing. So we want to do something for sure. And with any luck, this is just speculation, but CC Chris, we've heard this guy might move to Denver eventually, and then we could make another series. And also, Papa Nooch might move to Denver, and then we have 4 people here. We can make another series.
Walter, have you heard anything about that?
About Chris moving to
I've heard,
Denver?
I've heard rumors about licensure being accepted and other things kind of in the works, but cannot confirm anything up or down right. We don't have that in the Commodore 64 database as of yet.
Oh, is John in there? Here we got a code. I'm gonna get another beer. There's the code.
All right, boys.
Yeah.
I need to go. My wife is calling me.
Thank you so much, Walter. You did great. I love your work. You're a great guy.
Thank you. You're a great guy.
You tell Mayday we
You're
said
both
hello.
great young men.
Thank you so much, and Semper Fi, sir. Thank you so much. We love you.
Love you, Walter.
Goodbye.